Your thoughts are more powerful than you realize. They are not fleeting shadows that come and go without consequence. They are the roots from which your entire life springs forth. Every circumstance, every joy, every sorrow, every triumph and defeat is first born in the secret place of the mind. This is the enduring wisdom of James Allen's As a Man Thinketh, a message as relevant now as it was over a century ago. Allen teaches us that we are not at the mercy of fate. We are not helpless creatures carried along by the currents of chance. Instead, we are the makers of our own destiny. Our lives are shaped, moment by moment, by the thoughts we choose to allow, to nurture, and to act upon. Just as a garden cannot be neglected without becoming overrun with weeds, so too the mind cannot be ignored without falling into disorder. If we plant seeds of discipline, purpose, and gratitude, we reap a harvest of harmony and strength. If we permit seeds of fear, resentment, and doubt to grow unchecked, we reap only confusion and failure. The mind is always at work. Whether we watch over it or not, it produces according to its nature. Left unattended, it will grow wild, filling itself with the weeds of idle, destructive thoughts. But when carefully cultivated, it becomes a source of beauty, strength, and peace. A wise gardener never complains that weeds appear. He removes them. In the same way, the wise man or woman never laments the arrival of negative thoughts, but disciplines the mind, removes what is harmful, and plants what is good. Allen reminds us that every action, no matter how small, springs from a thought. Actions may seem sudden, but behind them lies a long chain of thinking, often unseen, stretching back to habits and beliefs formed long ago. A man does not stumble into greatness by accident, nor does he fall into failure without cause. Both success and defeat are first imagined, rehearsed, and permitted in the mind. If the thought is destructive, the action will ultimately bring sorrow. If the thought is noble, the action will bring forth peace and progress. This is why character itself is nothing more than the sum of our thoughts. We often speak of character as though it is fixed, as though people are simply born virtuous or corrupt, strong or weak, honest or dishonest. But Allen insists this is not so. Character is built day by day, thought by thought. Each moment we allow fear, anger, or resentment to dominate, we weaken the structure of our character. Each moment we choose courage, patience, or gratitude, we strengthen it. Character is not given, it is cultivated. And because it is cultivated, it can be changed. This truth offers hope. No one is bound forever to the person they are today. Through deliberate effort, through the careful discipline of thought, any man or woman can grow into something greater. The mind can be purified, habits can be changed, and character can be transformed. Just as the wildest garden can, with care, be made beautiful, so too the most restless or troubled mind can, with persistence, be made peaceful and strong. Allen also speaks of the inseparable link between thought and achievement. All accomplishment, whether small or great, is the result of purposeful thought. Success is never the gift of luck, nor is failure merely the strike of misfortune. The mind that drifts without direction produces a drifting life, but the mind that clings to a vision, that nurtures an ideal, that directs itself with clarity, cannot help but bring forth accomplishment. Dreams and ideals, when cherished with discipline, are powerful forces. They act as magnets, drawing thoughts, actions, and circumstances into alignment. A man without an ideal is like a ship without a rudder, tossed aimlessly upon the sea. But the man with a vision, though storms may rage and waves may strike, moves steadily toward his destination. For visions do not merely inspire, they guide every choice and strengthen every resolve. Yet, Allen does not promise that the path of vision and discipline is without hardship. On the contrary, he reminds us that adversity itself is one of life's greatest teachers. Circumstances, whether joyful or painful, reflect the inner state of our mind. When hardship arrives, it reveals the hidden patterns of thought that gave rise to it. In this way, difficulties are not enemies but messengers, urging us to look within, to examine our thoughts, and to make corrections where needed. A man who encounters failure may blame the world, but Alan tells us to turn inward. Perhaps the failure reveals a lack of diligence, a spirit of fear, or an indulgence in doubt. When these weaknesses are recognized and addressed, adversity becomes a doorway to strength. What seemed like misfortune becomes the very means by which character is refined. In this way, hardship is not punishment, but opportunity, the chance to rise, to grow, and to create anew. So, how does one begin to walk this path of mastery? Alan's guidance is simple, though never easy. Begin with self-examination. Watch your thoughts. Notice which ones arise again and again. Some will uplift you, strengthening your resolve and filling you with peace. Others will drain you, stirring anger, envy, or despair. It is not enough to recognize them. You must choose which to keep and which to cast aside. This is the discipline of the gardener, to pull the weeds, no matter how many times they return, to plant seeds of courage and patience each morning, even when yesterday's crop seems small. Over time, the garden changes, at first slowly, almost imperceptibly. But with persistence, the weeds lose their strength, the soil grows rich, and the seeds of noble thought take root, blossoming into character, into serenity, into the quiet strength of a mind at peace with itself. This discipline extends into every part of life. In health, thoughts of fear and worry weaken the body, while thoughts of calmness and confidence strengthen it. In relationships, thoughts of anger and resentment breed discord, while thoughts of kindness and forgiveness heal and unite. In work and endeavor, thoughts of laziness and doubt produce failure, while thoughts of diligence and determination lead to accomplishment. Alan insists that true change begins within. Many people, when faced with hardship, look outward, blaming circumstances, other people, or the world at large. But circumstances are only reflections. They mirror the state of our thoughts. To change the mirror, we must first change the mind that stands before it. External change without internal discipline is fleeting. But when the inner life is transformed, outer circumstances follow, as surely as night follows day. In speaking of business and labor, Alan reminds us that the principles of thought apply just as powerfully in the marketplace as they do in the soul. A man who works without clarity of mind drifts from job to job, never finding fulfillment. But the man who labors with purpose, who approaches his work with integrity and vision, creates success, not only for himself, but for all whom his work touches. Leadership especially demands discipline of thought. A leader filled with fear and doubt spreads confusion. A leader rooted in vision and integrity inspires trust and courage. Organizations, like individuals, are shaped by the thoughts they nurture. Companies built upon integrity, responsibility, and foresight thrive, while those guided by greed or short-sightedness eventually crumble. This principle extends even further. Nations, too, rise or fall according to the thoughts they embrace. A people who cultivate courage, unity, and responsibility grow strong and prosperous. A people who indulge in fear, division, and corruption weaken and decay. The destiny of a nation is, at its heart, the sum of the thoughts of its people. Yet for all his wisdom, Alan never removes responsibility from the individual. No man or woman is too small to shape their destiny. The life you live today is not the result of accidents beyond your control, but of thoughts you permitted yesterday. And the life you will live tomorrow depends upon the thoughts you choose today. This is both a heavy burden and a great liberation. For though it means you cannot blame others for your failures, it also means you hold in your own hands the power to create success. Alan closes his teaching with a vision of serenity, success, and fulfillment that awaits those who take this path seriously. The disciplined thinker becomes resilient in adversity, steady in success, humble in triumph, and patient in failure. Such a person is not disturbed by every change in fortune, for their strength does not rest upon circumstance, but upon the mastery of their own mind. This mastery brings peace deeper than wealth, more lasting than fame, and more satisfying than any external reward. The truth is simple, yet profound. You become what you think. Your life bends toward the direction of your dominant thoughts. If you wish for peace, cultivate peaceful thoughts. If you long for strength, cultivate courageous thoughts. If you seek success, cultivate purposeful, disciplined thoughts. And above all, remember that every moment offers a choice. You cannot control every event in the world around you, but you can control the thoughts you allow within you. And in mastering those thoughts, you master life itself. So pause now and reflect. What are the thoughts that fill your mind today? Are they thoughts of fear or thoughts of courage? Are they thoughts of bitterness or thoughts of gratitude? Are they weeds or are they seeds? The answer to these questions is not small, for it is the answer to the greater question, what kind of life are you creating? For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And as you think today, so shall you become tomorrow.